Let's have a conversation about demons in anime.
The only one who has the right to eat you.
完全に炎に飲まれているな。
And in this video, we're actually going to be taking a moment to look at a particular demon versus looking at every single demon that anime has to offer. Because if you were to ask me, every single demon that is used in their anime aren't all bad demons.
No way! I don't think so, pal. That's not how this works.
Yeah, I know, I said not all of them are bad demons, but hear me out. Let me explain. First of all, one of the things I do want to say when it comes to demons in anime is check out this video that I've already done here on this channel talking about demons in anime and the significance of them. But I also want to make sure that I point out, although it holds minuscule meaning when we're talking about what takes place in the spiritual realm, but the way that they perceive demons or articulate demons is different than the way that we do them here now today.
What?
For example, they do believe that humans can become demons or become monsters or recognized as those type of things, which the Bible shows no advocacy for saying that a human being can become a demon. So it's very complicated to identify what is a demon and, dare I say, what's actually just a human being. Now, for this video, the demon that we're actually going to be focusing on is the demon from the hit series known as Inuyasha. Can you guess which demon we're going to be talking about today? Yeah, Inuyasha. Now, I want to give some context to this character. Inuyasha was written by Rumiko Takahashi, and this series is about a young lady by the name of Kagome, who ends up going into her family well, falling inside, going into a different dimension, into a different time period, going into the Sengoku period of Japan. And in this realm, of course, it's during an ancient time in which, you know, they used arrows and swords.
I have the power of God and anime on my side!
Wait, and they lived in villages and tents and had to travel through vast woodland areas. But there's also demons here. Yeah, demons everywhere. Monsters, demons, monks, perverts, like the whole nine. Like they got all kinds of different creatures that exist in this realm. And to be honest, if I didn't have Jesus, I would not want to be there. I'm just gonna tell you right now. But this young middle school girl, 15 years old, ends up coming into this world, of course, baffled, afraid, didn't know what she was stumbling upon. But she does end up encountering a half-demon dog pinned up against a tree by an arrow. This arrow has cursed him into this deep sleep. Now she removes this arrow, thus awakening this demon dog. You see, a long time ago, Kikyo was the one that shot the arrow that pinned Inuyasha to this tree because of assumed rumors that he was the one that had committed some atrocities. They were once very close friends, and a lot of people would argue that they were once lovers. But now the story leads into Kagome thus having the Shikon jewel inside of her chest that is removed from her body. It's a very powerful magical gem, but it is shattered by her and scattered all over Japan, resulting in both her and Inuyasha traveling across Japan during the Sengoku period to find the shards and get their hands on the jewel. Now the story starts out, of course, with Inuyasha coming across as someone with some dark, ulterior motives, but as the story unfolds, we learn that he's actually a very soft and loving type of character, though he comes off very rabid, and he has a loving place in his heart for human beings. The thing is, because of this story that was told about him in his past, the moniker of being this monster was assigned to him because of it. Not only that, there was already looming fears, being that he was half demon, as well as whom his father was, a very scary and dangerous demon. Now, I want to pause here because one of the things that I actually want to point out is the key significance of the character of Inuyasha. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, well, he's half demon, so he's corrupt. He should be sent to hell. That's it. No Christian should be watching this. But here's the thing that you're missing. He's half demon, meaning he is also human. Can a human become a demon? Can a human produce a half demon? The only thing that we would have to even go off of to say that that's possible and to say that abominations can exist in this world are those of the Nephilim that are mentioned in Genesis chapter 6. However, God has already dealt with those angels and giants during that time, thus no other Nephilim can be birthed from a human anymore at this time, at least from my understanding. And if you have any evidence to say the contrary, please bring it to the table. But as of right now, I'm not convinced as such. So there's actually a soft spot in my heart when it comes to the character of Inuyasha.
What do you mean by that?
Because one, he's half demon, so there's already an assignment to him for being a monster. Not only that, a rumor being started that he committed atrocities against a village of people, killing people and doing other heinous acts, and thus immediately being judged for it and not getting proper judgment to determine the truth. This is a lot of what actually ends up happening now today. People end up becoming guilty by association. And when I say association, they're guilty because of the family that they come from. They're guilty because of the poor state of living in which they carry out their lives. They're committed to being looked at as these monsters because they commit just one wrongdoing or one crime, whether it be an accident or not. People are brought down as guilty. A lot of times now today, though I am not one that advocates for this perspective, a lot of black people feel as though they are looked at in that way from a majority of white people, being that there once was a time during the time of slavery where black people were considered less than human. So there is this stirring or rumored fear that is supposedly what they have for black people, including myself, supposedly. Thus, we are treated differently than other people would be treated, whether that person is white, whether that person is Asian, whether that person is European, Greek, redheaded, lighter skinned. Any of those factors play into someone who looks different being treated differently. All of this ties to the storyline and the treatment of the character of Inuyasha to begin with. Now, this is only part one of some significance when I'm talking about this being a story involving a demon character that Christians can actually be blessed by rather than be hurt by, because not everyone that is assigned a title of monster is actually a monster. Not only that, Jesus Christ's blood that he shed on the cross for us, the redeemable power of that blood could save even a person that is identified, quote unquote, as a demon.
Do you realize what this means?
As a monster, could have done heinous acts, atrocious acts. They can still be saved by what Jesus has done on the cross and by resurrecting as he did when he ascended into heaven and sent down his Holy Spirit to dwell within us. So I would say the same thing would be possible for a half demon like Inuyasha. Although I don't advocate for the demon father or any of his attempts for his son, there is something that he did do that I think is valuable, and I would honestly, on some level, associate back to scripture, and perfectly I can articulate this properly. One of those things being, when it comes to Inuyasha, he has an older brother known as Sesshomaru. Now, I'm butchering this man's name. You'll have to forgive me. Sorry. Sesshomaru. He is more of the type of demon that would commit massacres and destruction and unalive people without a second thought, because he's in all actuality a full demon. He's a full
Hey.
full demon dog. He's not half demon. He has no humanity within him. So if you were to ask me, well, does Sesshomaru deserve to go to hell? I would say absolutely. However, I do want to point out something significant that takes place when what they end up playing on between Inuyasha and Sesshomaru is the bonds and the struggles of brotherhood. With Inuyasha being the younger brother and Sesshomaru being the older, the father left behind for these brothers 2 swords that would, of course, give them power, but also to basically teach them a lesson. You see, Sesshomaru was given a sword called the Tenseiga. The Tenseiga does more with the spiritual realm against, I guess you could say, spirits or demons that come to carry off the soul of someone that has died, right? To drag them off into Hades or hell or whatever the case may be. I can't remember where they take them to. This sword can only genuinely do harm against those spiritual entities that are looking to come take somebody's soul. It can't fight against humans. It can't do any mass territorial damage. The sword does not work that way. He has a sword that is for bringing life. Now, the other sword is that of the Tetsaiga. The Tetsaiga. The Tetsaiga does a special attack everyone loves called the Wind Scar. Borderline, I would argue that Ichigo gets his Getsuga Tensho from Tetsaiga's Wind Scar attack. I think it's an amazing technique. I used to love seeing that move be used. It was absolutely awesome when I was a kid. But the thing about that is that sword is the one that does territorial, natural, physical damage. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's the significance of the father giving these swords to his sons in this way, where Inuyasha has an affinity more so for humans, and Sesshomaru is the one for hatred? Why not give him the sword that would meet the nature of his character? The thing is, he's teaching their children to better understand the other half of either who they are or what they could be. Sesshomaru, being that he's a full-fledged demon, only sees humans as either food or something to kill, nothing of value. But by having this sword, he has to value life in some way. And this slowly begins to work on his character as he has saved one young lady who was a bit like a little girl. This is an instance that reminds me of Zoro, when Zoro ate that rice cake while he was pinned up, because he was sacrificing himself for a young girl that was otherwise going to be killed simply for Helmeppo during his bad days. I used to hate Helmeppo. I'm so glad he changed. But Sesshomaru defends this young lady's life, and she begins to wander with him and operate in one sense as a servant, but we really kind of see Sesshomaru opening up and showing that he loves and cares for this little girl. And so we see those workings taking place on him. Now, the opposite takes place with Inuyasha. Not that he becomes this full-fledged demon monster and wants to just kill, but now he has to be able to harness and learn control when it comes to using that power to fight against oppositions appropriately. That's something that I would say when it comes to that having that balance. What this actually kind of brings to mind, in my opinion, is the relationship between Cain and Abel. And when I say this reminds me of Cain and Abel, is because Abel, yeah, he sacrificed animals, of course, but he made proper sacrifices, and he was very pleasing to God. And it didn't seem as though violence was necessarily a part of his nature. Even when we tell stories about Cain and Abel now today, we assign this sheep-like, softened and loving aspect to Abel, faithful aspect to Abel, where Hebrews 11 even speaks of him being a very faithful person to God. The opposite is assigned to Cain. Cain being the one that actually took the life of his brother, hence that violent nature is immediately assigned to him. Not only that those acts of violence, along with him being cursed to wander in exile by God, the mark of Cain, as famously known, his lineage, his children were ones that began to make weapons of war, which you can see throughout, I believe it's Genesis 4-5. You see a lot of violence stemming from his lineage and from his family. And so that association with destruction on one side, with one brother, and a loving and obedient and submissive heart being with the other brother. Now, it's not evident with Inuyasha's character that he's this loving, peaceful, kind-hearted, here, let me help you across the street, old lady type character. It's not evident in that. However, it is evident being that, one, he fights for his friends, two, he fights for innocent people, and those aspects of him are already evident within his character. And so the reason that I am pointing these things out is because seeing that this relationship between two demon brothers is evident here, sure, they are demons, but what this is also speaking to is human nature being illustrated in the form of these demons. It's not to cause peace in our hearts or love in our hearts for demons. Though there are some people that think and act like that. They're like, oh, Sesshomaru is the hot demon. No, don't get into that mindset. That's very unhealthy. Those are some things I would say against Inuyasha for Christians. No, you shouldn't have empathy for demons that were cast from heaven and are being damned to hell. We're not supposed to demonstrate a love or a peace for them and feel like, God, come on, be merciful on Lucifer. Let him come back and take his name back. That's not what we're supposed to be on. However, the purpose of this story is to show where people are assigned titles, where people have even embraced a monstrous nature to themselves, though they may come from a monstrous lineage, that the opportunity for change is there. That also the opportunity to balance being a loving person, but also needing to, I guess you could say, fight for what is right, or fight for what you love, or fight for your family, or come against evil when it shows itself, and not simply needing to be this lovey-dovey peace and love holding hands person, is a balance also that the series tends to show. Now, the last thing that I want to leave you guys with when it comes to Inuyasha and him being a demon, in regards to that of scripture and that tying to this, is if you recall, there was an instance in which Jesus was going to heal a man that was born blind. Well, what's the significance of that in regards to Inuyasha? Well, when it came to the blind man being healed, the people continued to ask him whose fault was it that this man was born blind. Was it his parents? Was it his parents' parents? Was there a generational curse placed upon him? Did he do something wrong that resulted in this? These same questions could be levied towards a character like Inuyasha. These same questions can be levied towards someone that comes from a poor and broken home. These same questions can be leveled to someone that was, let's say, a rapist child, or someone who comes from a murderous household, and then this child is associated to that person. Good God, imagine if Jeffrey Dahmer or Hitler had a child, and that child they were just a child. They were just a child. Would anyone take them in? Would anyone raise them as their own? Would anyone love on them and provide for them rather than beat them and accuse them of the atrocities of their parents, treat them as less than? Or would they love them like Christ has called us to love them? You see, that is the biggest thing that we can take away from a series like Inuyasha. Yes, he's half demon. Yes, his brother Sesshomaru is a demon. However, the significant messages behind why these characters are demons holds even truer than the fact that they are demons. And I pray that this video has blessed you guys as we took a moment to take a look at the series of Inuyasha, look at these characters that are demons, and get a better understanding of that. And who knows, you might look at Inuyasha differently if you go to watch it. Do I give it my seal of approval for Christians? Somewhat yes, somewhat no. But in the least, if you were to watch Inuyasha, have that understanding when you're looking at these demons in this series. Thank you guys. I hope you have a blessed day. Peace.